The future of the Commanders is in flames, and you don't even know. Picture this. Your star RB demands $33 million without merit. The CB who costs 3 picks is burning money without performing, and a Cowboy defends our QB like family. Are you ready for the big explosion? If you don't subscribe now, you'll miss out. 1. Why Peters will fire the most beloved running back. 2. The dirty secret of the worst contract on the roster. And 3. The moment Dez Bryant betrays Dallas for Washington. This is no theory. It's the reality that could destroy seasons or confirm our Super Bowl path. Turn on notifications before we delete this video and become part of the Burgundy and Gold revolution. Let's start with a situation many fans aren't seeing coming, but it could completely shake up our backfield. Brian Robinson Jr. is looking for a new contract, and according to Spotric projections, he wants about $8.26 million annually in a 4-year, $33 million deal. Do you think Adam Peters is going to pay that amount? I tell you this, not in your dreams. Look, I respect Brian Robinson Jr. for everything he's been through, from the shooting to becoming an incredible comeback story. The dude was shot twice in the leg during a robbery attempt in August 2022 and returned to play that same season. That requires a warrior mentality I completely admire. But when we talk about cold numbers, the dude has never surpassed 800 rushing yards in 3 seasons. 800 yards, folks. That's less than 50 yards per game in a full season. Do you know how many running backs are earning $8 million or more annually? Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook when he was active. All those backs have had multiple seasons of over 1,000 yards. Robinson Jr. has never even reached 800. How do you justify paying him at the same level? Adam Peters already sent us a clear signal with Jeremy Chinn. When the Raiders offered more money, Peters said, let him go, because he didn't produce enough to justify the expense. Chinn had been one of the most promising safeties in the league, but he didn't perform as expected in Washington. Peters didn't let potential or the player's popularity with fans lead him. He was cold and calculating. Do you think he'll make an exception with Robinson? I think not, and I'll explain why. This new administration isn't playing with feelings. Peters is building a roster based on production and value, not nice stories. If Robinson wants those $8 million, he has to prove he can be an elite running back, not just a guy who gives us 200 yards in the first 4 games and then disappears. The reality is Robinson has a worrying pattern. In 2022, he started the season running well, but faded towards the end. In 2023, he had bright moments, but couldn't maintain consistency. And last year, although he was part of a more balanced attack, he never showed. He could be the number 1 back who carries the team when needed. Do you know what's the craziest part of all this? That the Commanders really believed in Robinson Jr. They didn't sign any significant veteran running back, didn't select any back in the draft, and basically told him the backfield is yours. That's a huge sign of trust. But trust has to be met with production. The running back market is changing again. Teams are paying for dynamic backs that can impact the game in multiple ways. Saquon Barkley just demonstrated his value with the Eagles, rushing for over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Josh Jacobs revitalized the Packers' attack. Derrick Henry, at 30, is still dominant. Robinson hasn't shown to be that kind of player. He is solid, reliable, physical, but not explosive. He's not the kind of back who can carry the attack when Jaden Daniels needs help. In the most important games last season, especially in the playoffs, Robinson wasn't the game changer. We expected. Do you remember the game against the Eagles in the NFC Championship? Saquon Barkley rushed for 118 yards on just 16 carries. Meanwhile, Robinson had 41 yards on 12 attempts. That's the difference between a running back worth $8 million and one who isn't. The situation gets more complicated when we consider that Peters has a history of being ruthless with financial decisions. He didn't renew several veteran players who wanted more money than their production justified. With Robinson, the equation is simple. If he doesn't produce number one back numbers, he won't get number one back pay. Do you know what's most important about all this? That Robinson has a golden opportunity this season. With an improved offensive line, more experience from Jaden Daniels, and a more sophisticated attack, the backfield should be more productive. The question is whether Robinson can seize that opportunity. If Robinson doesn't reach 1,000 yards this season, I guarantee that Peters will be looking for a running back in the 2026 draft. There's too much young talent in college to pay premiums for mediocre production. Backs like Ashton Jeanty from Boise State will be available, and those players come with much cheaper rookie contracts. The pressure is all on Robinson Jr. He can't have another 700-yard season and expect to be paid like the starting back. Either produce or leave. It's that simple. Peters won't get sentimental with anyone, and that includes players who have been part of the franchise's culture. This situation reminds me of when the Cowboys let DeMarco Murray go after his 2,000-yard season. Murray wanted more money. The Cowboys said no, and it turned out to be the right decision because Murray was never the same player again. Sometimes you have to make tough decisions for the good of the team, but it also reminds me of when the Dolphins let Lamar Miller go, or when the Texans didn't renew Miller afterward. Running backs who aren't truly elite are replaceable, and Peters knows it. The only way Robinson keeps his place is by proving he's irreplaceable. If that surprises you, wait until you hear this. Marshon Latimore, the cornerback we traded a third, fourth, and fifth round pick for, has just been named the most overpaid player on our roster by Bleacher Report. And you know what? I think they're right, and that hurts me to admit more than anything else. When Peters made that trade last October, we all thought he was being aggressive for a Super Bowl run. We brought in a cornerback who had been a 4-time Pro Bowler, a player, supposedly going to close out our secondary and give us the missing piece to compete with the NFC's best teams. The logic was perfect. Jaden Daniels was playing like a veteran. The attack was explosive. We just needed to solidify the defense, but the reality was completely different, and that's what frustrates me the most. Latimore missed 6 straight games with a hamstring injury. 6 games, folks. In a season where every game mattered, our most expensive cornerback was on the injury report week after week. When he finally returned, what we remember most are the poorly timed pass interferences and the fight with A.J. Brown in the championship game. Seriously? Is that what we got for 3 draft picks? Those picks could have been young players on cheap contracts contributing for the next 4 years. Instead, we have a 28-year-old cornerback earning elite money, but not playing at that level. Now we're paying him $8 million this season. 18 million fans. To put that in perspective, that's more than some teams pay their starting quarterbacks. It's more than many number one wide receivers are earning. And we're paying it to a quarterback who hasn't had 50 tackles in a season since 2020-1. Can you explain how that's justified? I tell you this, it's not justified, period. When you have Jalen Ramsey earning $17 million, Trevin Diggs earning $14 million, and other elite corners earning less, it makes no sense for Latimore to be at the top of the market without the production to back it up. The defense remains our Achilles heel. And a big part of that is because Latimore isn't playing at the level we expected. Do you remember the playoffs? Saquon Barkley ran over us in the championship game. And one reason is that we didn't have reliable coverage in the secondary. If your number one cornerback can't consistently cover, the entire defense falls apart. What's more frustrating is that Latimore has shown moments where he demonstrates why he was a 4-time Pro Bowler. Against the Cowboys, he had a solid performance. Against the Falcons, he showed flashes of brilliance. But the consistency isn't there. And at $18 million, you can't afford inconsistency. The problem goes beyond the stats. Latimore arrived with a reputation for being physical and competitive, but in the most important moments, we didn't see him impose himself. The game against the Eagles was the perfect example. A.J. Brown provoked him, got in his head, and he ended up being more of a problem than a solution. Peters tried to fix the issue by adding Javon Kinlaw and Dietrich Wise to stop the run. But if Latimore doesn't dramatically improve, we're going to have the same problems. You can't have your most expensive cornerback being a liability in the important moments. Do you know what's the craziest part of this situation? That the Saints basically scammed us. They knew Latimore was dealing with injuries, knew he wasn't the same player from his early years, and yet they managed to get us to give them 3 picks for him. That's a masterclass in trade negotiations. But from the wrong side, the cornerback market has changed dramatically in recent years. Players like Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley Jr., and Ahmad Gardner are playing at an elite level on rookie contracts. Meanwhile, we're paying veteran money for declining veteran production. Do you remember when we brought in Josh Norman? Another similar situation. Great player in Carolina, arrived in Washington with huge expectations, never performed at the expected level. History is repeating itself, and that's what worries me the most. The pressure is fully on Latimore this season. He can't have another mediocre season and expect the fans to respect him. Patience is running thin, especially when we see other young corners in the league making plays he isn't making. Latimore needs to return to his Pro Bowler form, especially playing alongside Trey Amos, a rookie who needs leadership and example. If he can't be the mentor and the playmaker we expect, then we're in serious trouble. Do you know what's most important about all this? That we have to consider the opportunity costs. Those 3 picks we traded could have been players contributing immediately and for years. Instead, we have an expensive player who isn't justifying his salary or the cost of acquisition. If Latimore doesn't improve, that trade will be remembered as one of the worst moves by Peters as general manager. And considering Peters has been practically perfect until now, that would be a huge stain on his record. A stain that could cost him credibility in future trades. The reality is Latimore has everything to be successful. He has the talent, the experience, the coaching staff that believes in him. But football is a results-driven game, and so far, the results aren't there. This season is make or break for him. But here comes the really crazy part, and this will make you forget about all the problems I just mentioned. Dez Bryant, a Cowboys legend, our lifelong enemies, has just defended Jayden Daniels in a way that has the entire DMV celebrating. Can you believe that? A Cowboy defending our quarterback. This situation is so surreal that I had to read the news 3 times to believe it. Dez Bryant, the same player who tortured us for years, who celebrated touchdowns at FedEx Field like it was his home, is defending Jayden Daniels against criticism from a former MVP like Cam Newton. Do you realize how historic this is? The situation started when Cam Newton, on his podcast Funky Fridays, suggested that Daniels might be a one-hit wonder. Newton, who knows what it's like to be a dynamic quarterback facing adversity, compared the situation to what happened with Robert Griffin III. He insinuated that Daniels could have the same fate, that his rookie season might be the peak of his career. Do you remember the trauma we had with RG3? It still hurts to think about what could have been. Robert Griffin III came in like a hurricane in 2012, broke records, led us to the playoffs, and for a moment, we thought we had found our franchise quarterback. But injuries, questionable coaching decisions, and the lack of mental development ended up destroying his career. Newton wasn't being malicious, but he touched the most sensitive nerve of our fan base. All of us, deep down, are afraid that Daniels will follow the same path. It's a legitimate fear because we've seen how young quarterbacks can collapse after successful seasons. But Dez Bryant wouldn't allow it. The dude went out to defend Daniels with a statement that gave me chills. Jayden Daniels is here to stay. Nothing about how he plays football shows that he's a one-season success. Can you believe that an ex-Cowboys is defending our quarterback better than some of our own analysts? Bryant didn't stop there. He went even deeper in his analysis, saying something that blew my mind. Of all the athletically gifted quarterbacks who have played the game, Jaden Daniels is the best at reading defenses. He doesn't rely on his athletic ability. And that's what makes him dangerous. Did you hear that? A receiver who faced the best defenses for years, who played against the best linebackers and safeties in the league, is saying our rookie reads defenses better than anyone. That's not casual opinion. That's professional analysis from someone who understands the game at an elite level. And do you know what's most important about all this? That Bryant pointed out the exact key difference with RG3. Robert was incredibly athletic, had a cannon arm, could run like a running back. But when defenses adapted and he got injured, he didn't have the football IQ to evolve his game. He couldn't make quick reads, couldn't win from the pocket. Daniels is completely different. From his first game, we've seen a quarterback who can read defenses pre-snap, who can make real-time adjustments, who can find the open receiver under pressure. His touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin against the Bengals was a perfect example. He read the defense, saw the mismatch, and executed perfectly. Well, our favorite DMV rapper also jumped to defend Daniels, and he's right when he says we as fans still have PTSD from the RG3 era. We saw a rookie quarterback take us to the playoffs and thought we found our savior, only to see him collapse in the following seasons. But the comparisons between Daniels and RG3 are superficial. Yes, both are athletically gifted, both can run, both had successful rookie seasons. But that's where the similarities end. Daniels has a completely different mindset, a more mature approach to the game, and a processing ability that RG3 never. Do you remember the game against the Eagles in Week 16? Daniels completed 26 of 30 passes for 340 yards and 5 touchdowns. But the most impressive part wasn't the numbers, but how he handled the pressure. The Eagles had one of the best defenses in the league, and he tore them apart with intelligence, not just athleticism. The fact that Dez Bryant, who knows football at an elite level, is defending Daniels against Newton's criticism is incredibly significant. Bryant has no reason to defend a Washington quarterback. If anything, it would make more sense for him to criticize a player from a rival franchise. Do you know why Bryant is defending Daniels? Because he recognizes something special when he sees it. Bryant played with Tony Romo, faced elite quarterbacks. Throughout his career, he knows how to recognize when a quarterback has it, that intangible quality that separates the greats from the good. Bryant's statement is also important because it comes from someone who understands media pressure. He lived the scrutiny of playing in Dallas, one of the NFL's most media-driven franchises. When he says Daniels isn't a one-hit wonder, he's speaking from the experience of seeing how young quarterbacks handle pressure. Do you realize what this means for the national perception of Daniels? When respected players like Bryant come out to defend him, it changes the narrative. It's no longer just us, Washington fans, being optimistic. It's players who know football recognizing the talent. The reality is Daniels is building something special here in Washington. His love for the game is genuine, his dedication is unquestionable, and his ability to read defenses is superior to most veteran quarterbacks. The season we just lived wasn't by chance. 12 wins, rookie records broken, and taking us to the NFC Championship game. That's not the work of a casual quarterback. Do you know the craziest part of all this? That we're seeing a 29-year-old quarterback who has the respect of league legends. When Tom Brady praised Daniels, when Aaron Rodgers spoke positively of him, when Dez Bryant defends him, that's not coincidence. It's recognition of greatness. Daniels isn't satisfied with one successful season. He's hungry for more. That mentality, combined with his natural talent and football IQ, is what sets him apart from other young quarterbacks who have failed. He's not trying to be the next RG3. He's trying to be the first Jaden Daniels. There you have it, fans. 3 news stories that would define the future of our franchise, and each tells a different story about where we are as an organization. Robinson Jr. fighting for a contract he probably won't get shows us that Peters isn't going to pay for potential without production. Latimore being pointed out as overpaid, reminds us that not even a brilliant general manager's decisions are guaranteed. And Daniels being defended by NFL legends confirms that we have something special in our hands. The reality is we're at a crucial moment. Peters has built a culture of accountability where production matters more than names or stories. That's good in the long run, but it means some popular players might not be here next year if they don't improve with Robinson Jr. The equation is simple: produce or go. With Latimore, the pressure is huge because he not only has to justify his salary, but also the acquisition cost. With Daniels, the expectation is to continue growing and prove that last year was just the beginning. Do you think Peters will pay Robinson Jr. those $8 million? Do you think Latimore will return to his Pro Bowler form? And what are your thoughts on Dez Bryant defending our quarterback against Cam Newton's criticism? Let me know in the comments because I want to hear all your opinions. If you want to keep receiving the most explosive Commanders news, in-depth analysis that you won't find anywhere else, and the Burgundy and Gold passion that characterizes his family, then you need to be part of this community. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss a single piece of news. And remember, while other teams are dealing with drama and controversies, we are building something special. The future is bright in Washington, and you won't want to miss a moment of this journey. Hail to the Commanders!